what's up, everyone? Welcome to Get a Life podcast. I'm today's host, Jacob, and I'm joined by my two friends, Bish.
Hey, what's up?
And Joe.
Hey, what's up?
And today we're gonna talk about Persona 5, the latest entry in the Shin Megami Tensei Persona series. It's a JRPG set in Shibuya. It was developed and published by Atlus, and it was released a year ago, in April. Well, to start things off, I'm gonna talk about how the game works and about the characters and everything, but first I'm gonna let Bish do the disclaimer because I can't do it. Go on.
For you new folks, Get Life Podcast is a monthly gaming discussion podcast under the Get Life group. We talk about all sorts of games from big AAA titles all the way to the awesome indie games, but our forte is Japanese games like Persona 5, so expect that a lot from us. We can be found on Stitcher, iTunes and Google Play Music. Remember, if you want to join in on the fun, then follow us on Twitter at Get a Life Podcast. You can support us by signing up for a 14-day free trial of Crunchyroll Premium. For everything anime, keep it Crunchyroll. Crunchyroll.com/Kuna. You can also support us by checking out Loot Crate. So that's lootcrate.com/GetAlife. Additionally, you can get 10% off if you apply the code GetAlife, that's one word, as a discount code on your checkout. Also, big thanks to Deep Silver and for Atlus for actually providing me with a review copy of Persona 5 1 month before it's released. So thank you very much for that, guys.
Yep, and personally speaking, if when you sign up for Crunchyroll Premium, I recommend watching Darling in the Franxx. But that's just me.
Anyways, okay, since I introduced the game to you before the disclaimer, what did you guys think about the game, when it first was announced, and what were your thoughts, and what did you think about the introduction? Sorry, fucked it up.
Well, personally for me, when I kind of forgot that this game existed, right? Because they announced it, and then it was just oh, it's coming in 2015, and everyone was
I think
what?
It was 2014
or something like that. And then they just got delayed until there was that E3. There was an E3 gameplay, an E3 trailer, or was it Tokyo Game Show? I can't remember. And they were just showing off the characters, the new Velvet Room assistant, and I didn't really pay much attention to the gameplay. Right, the gameplay to me, it looked interesting, but I didn't really care about it. What I cared about was that, the cinematic intro, which is actually the intro of the game. You know the intro of the game where it's they're doing the skating and shit.
That was the first thing that was actually shown of the game.
Exactly, and to me that was the most beautiful thing ever. I was like, whoa, it's some Yuri on Ice shit.
Yeah, it was like Harry Potter and Naruto and Junko Enoshima doing ice skating on the streets.
My favorite bit was the assistants, right? The way they did that ballet pose, and then they put both of their legs up in the air at that one time, and it was in unison. I was like, man, this game is gonna be good just because of the assistants. And I don't know if you remember, Jacob. That was all I was talking about on Twitter. I was like, oh man, there's Velvet Room assistants. Oh yeah, it was just that. So that's what really got me excited.
It just makes you sound like a creepy old man.
Well, that's what it was. It was just the creep in me. It was oh yeah. I don't know. It's I was so interested in them because there's two. That's the first thing that popped out. And they were kids. I thought they were twins. I thought one was a boy, one was a girl. And I was like, what? That's sick. It's not, but still. That's what I thought about the trailers. I didn't pay much attention to gameplay though. I know everyone was talking about it. I know PlayStation Access did early gameplay stuff at E3. And that was cool, but I didn't really care about it. I care about that cinematic trailer. That was mamma mia.
The spicy meatball.
They also made a huge deal out of it shortly before it was actually released in Japan. They were there was this event where everyone in Japan could play it. I think it was Tokyo Game Show. I'm not too sure about that, but I think it was. And they were there was this old lady reporter, and suddenly I think Tokyo Tower was red, and there were policemen all over the place because they made this huge Phantom Thief thing where suddenly I think the first copy of Persona 5 was stolen from the show.
Are you serious? Or was it fake?
It was pretty fake. Yeah, it was. Of course, it was all
Oh, so it's a marketing campaign.
It was. Of course, it was yeah, but I think that's
The fact that they went to such lengths is very interesting to me.
Of course, because like they know that Persona is so big that they decided let's actually go as big and turn like the Tokyo Tower, let's turn it red. It was crazy, but it was so amazing. It was like, oh my god, they actually did that. I was so like excited at that point. It was like, oh my god, I can't wait for it to come out. And then the pre-orders came up and it was like, done, it's pre-ordered. I was like, that's all I gotta play in 2017. That's gonna be my main game in 2017. I don't care about what anyone else says. I never played Nier Automata. I only played like the first half of the PS3 game, like the original. But
Did you guys hear that? That was the sound of my heart breaking.
I didn't hear anything. I didn't know you had a heart.
Wow.
Anyways, we're not here to talk about fucking Nier Automata. We're not talking about we're not here to like talk about white-haired bitches with black eye patches or whatever. We're here to talk about. No, you don't, and I would look at it. Anyways, are you paying attention?
You know what should play now? You know the music for the tests in Persona?
Yeah, you should totally.
There's basically a test for Joe to see if he was paying attention, and then if he gets the questions right,
it doesn't matter if I get them right. It's also have enough knowledge. And
I don't know if you've been training that stats, Joe. We'll see.
My stats are all maxed. I have a plat trophy.
Hell yeah, Joe. I wanna know your thoughts.
Yeah, you didn't say anything.
Oh, okay. So
say something. I'm giving up on you.
Okay. Persona 5 is a weird game for me because like I was waiting for it since it was initially announced, like back when it was just like the teaser with the 5 chairs, and so we knew like next to nothing about it. So I'm like, oh, this is exciting. I hope I can play it someday. And then they show the first animated trailer for it, and like they showed the gameplay and everything. And like this is like I have never seen a game this stylish since like The World Ends With You.
Yeah, I agree.
Like to think that something could be so aesthetically pleasing in a game it wasn't realistic to me. Like I didn't think something like a game could go that far with how good it can look. And so like when I saw it initially, like I heard the music and I saw like the visuals, and I saw that they're using the Catherine engine for like the gameplay, and it blew my mind. I'm like, this game looks fantastic. And then when they showed the new character designs, and then they showed like the all-out attacks, like it hyped me up to no end. It was the game I couldn't stop thinking about for like a week or two straight.
Yeah, I think that was the same for like all of us. It was like,
yeah,
it was just mind blowing. Then it was like the announcement, it's coming like in 2014, which it didn't, of course, but you know.
And then after that, it's like I was waiting for it. Like I was still, don't get me wrong, I was still like excited for it, but my excitement compared to then and now was like it wasn't as high because we were waiting for so long.
Yeah, of course.
Like I had to take your Heart Edition pre-order. Like I was ready for it. Like I was ready to have a lot of fun with it, but I didn't feel any kind of like excitement towards it until I started playing it myself.
Yeah.
And then like suddenly like I remembered why I was excited for this game for so long, and like suddenly I was like, I want to play more. So like that's kind of how I got my start with it. But what about you, Jacob?
Well, for me it was like, I think I pretty much explained it, because at first I was like, just I think 1 or 2 years earlier I had played Persona 4 for the first time, which was my first Persona. So I was like, oh my god, Persona 5, it's gonna be so big. And then they actually like just came with that announcement and was like, holy shit, I cannot wait. And then we're like, I think 2014, I think it was, yeah, or 2015, whatever.
I think it was 15 when they showed the trailer for like the first like actual trailer for it.
Yeah, the first trailer, when I first like saw that like the opening, I was like, okay, like, you know, I like openings, but like I care more about the actual gameplay. So when I saw the first gameplay, I was like, this looks a lot different. So I'm like, I was a little bit skeptical, because like there are a few game companies that like to like make big changes to their games compared to the older entries in the series, and so I was like, let's see how this turns out. And then like a year later or a few months later, they actually showed like real gameplay. And I was so excited and was like, okay, I think I love this, especially because of the personas replacing shadows and everything, and negotiations and everything. We'll talk about that later, of course. Yeah, of course, I was hyped at first when I saw all that, but then I saw it got delayed. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna wait for it. I'm not gonna get my hopes up as of now. But if we have a release date, I was like, okay, you know what? Once it arrives at my door, I was like, I'm gonna play that out of this game, and then I did. But yeah, anyways, let's talk about the favorite. Well, one of the best parts in the game, the characters themselves. So you have the protagonist, who looks fucking stylish. Like is like so aesthetically pleasing. It feels so weird to say that, but like for the first time in like a long time, I'm like, I really like this protagonist, even if I have no idea what he's like. If he's like Yu Narukami or if he's like the Persona 3 protagonist, and he's like, he actually looks good. He kind of looks a little cute at first, at least in the first trailer, and like on the train, like with the glasses and everything. I was like, he's cute, like, you know. Then I saw Naruto. Well, Ryuji. I mean, everyone kept saying like it's Harry Potter and Naruto and Junko Enoshima, and what else is there? Well, the protagonist, he's great. Compared to like Persona 4, I liked Yu Narukami, but I think the Persona 5 protagonist is like even better. Ryuji Sakamoto, he's probably my favorite. He's like the sidekick, like the main sidekick and the best friend of the protagonist.
Brosuke.
No.
A lot of people compare him.
I don't care about that. You know why? Because he's way better than Yosuke. Yosuke can go fuck himself.
Whoa. Whoa.
Then there's also Anne, who was most compared to Junko Enoshima, of course, because of the hairstyle and everything. And then there's Morgana, who's a cat, and Yusuke and Makoto, who's, by the way, best girl. I don't care what anyone else says. Then there's...
See, my boy Jacob gets it.
What?
My boy Jacob gets it.
See, I'm gay, and even I can agree that Makoto is best girl. Futaba, who I think a lot of people can relate to if you, like, advance in the story mode. Story mode, like there's any other mode in the game. Goro and Haru, who I don't want to talk about because there's nothing to talk about.
So, what? Who are we talking about?
Haru.
Who?
Haru.
Who? Who we talking?
There's also like the social links in Persona 5, and they're called confidants or confidants. I don't know how to say it because my first language isn't English. But anyways.
Well, there's a theme with that because all of the even all of the arcanas are written in French. If you look at the arcana cards, they're all written in French. So I think that's the theme they're going.
There are a lot of confidants. I'm not gonna name every single one of them because it could take a while. But there's a female doctor who I know is very popular with like a lot of people.
Well, no, I'm not gonna disagree. Like, she is really cool character, and I really like her personality and the fact that, you know, she's kind of selfless. You'll find out when you kind of experience her confidant. But I mean, a lot of the people are just like, ooh man, I'd let her do some examinations on me. You get what I'm saying?
I have no idea what you just said.
That's horrifying, Bish.
A lot of people are saying that they would let her do examinations on them, and it's like,
either way, there's the doctor, and there's the teacher, who I'm not gonna talk about a lot because of reasons. A politician, which is weird. Anyway, well, different class, schoolmates and all that ish, you know that.
What was our favorite confidants? What was our favorite main characters, etc.? Because for me, I know my favorite main character had to be, in terms of the main storyline, it was Futaba, mainly because of her story it's kind of intertwined with my own. You know, I relate to her a lot, and I know a lot of people relate to Futaba a lot because of that sense of, I'm alone, you know, I'm this person on the internet that I can only communicate with others through the internet. Even this podcast, the way it initially started, was a way for me to communicate with others.
Yeah, a lot of people can relate to that. A lot of people can.
Yeah, and a lot of people can relate to that, and I really enjoy that because of the character. It's not just that, it's the fact that, you know, she's lost a parent at a young age, and, you know, seeing that happen, etc.
There's also the matter of like she had to deal with the fact that she like killed her, like quote unquote killed her mother.
Exactly, yeah, and her family were like giving her shit because of it, you know, and I relate to that on a personal level a lot.
Yeah, and like there were some officials who were like, hey, like this is all your fault, like, and then they were being very condescending about it. They were like, it's a shame that like she had to go like this, like if only like you caused so much stress for her, Futaba.
And it's like that can make someone feel like shit, and I think a lot of people can relate to that. So that's why she's like my favorite main character or my favorite party member, because of that reason, just because of her storyline. And her character design is pretty cool as well. I think she's very stylish. The coat with the fur on it.
I like her hair. She reminds me of an Inkling from Splatoon.
Yes, exactly. I've seen a lot of like crossovers where people have drawn her as an Inkling from Splatoon, and it's pretty nice. It's pretty cool. Even like the jeans and stuff, there's a lot of attention to detail in that kind of costume design. It's beautiful. Like I don't like every other character's wearing school uniform, so you don't really get to see their personality as much within school hours. So it's great. Futaba is actually like has a personality, which I like.
Is she also your favorite confidant?
My favorite confidant, I think, for obvious reasons.
No, it's not. I know who it is.
You know who it is. It's
Kawakami.
The reason it is for two reasons. First, because I really love her. Like she's such a laid back teacher. Like she's like, fuck it, man. Like do what you want. Make some shit in class. But the one thing I don't like about her confidant is the way she acts as a maid and the way that they draw her like icons and shit. I don't like the facial expressions she makes when she's a maid. I don't like the hairstyle when she's a maid. I don't like that. I like the frumpy, derpy kind of looking, you know what I mean, like the teacher look. I like that better than like, it seems like I understand where they were trying to go with it to kind of make this teacher look like, hey, she does this kind of stuff off school hours, hell yeah, to earn extra money. And they were hinting at that kind of stuff, you know, when you kind of go in romantic route with her. So it's like, for me, it was learning more about why she did this and why she went into teaching as well, or what teaching means to her, and how like what her students mean to her as well. I really enjoyed that, and it was a real insight, because teachers get a lot of shit, man. Like sometimes people forget that they're real people and they have lives outside of the school. But yeah, and also her hairstyle is amazing, and that sweater, hell yeah, man, that I love.
All right, what
10 out of 10. IGN.
What?
You know that Makoto meme? You know that one where she's doing the okay?
Yeah.
It's like that. That's how I'm feeling right now.
So what about you, Joe? Who's your favorite main and confidant character?
Well, my favorite main character, like best girl aside, like any kind of like silliness aside, like Makoto was without a doubt my favorite, because like during her, I'll be a little serious here for like a minute or two. During the time I was playing Persona 5, I was dealing with a couple of things in my own life. Like there were a lot, like I was doing some self-struggle. Like I felt like I just felt very powerless in a lot of scenarios. Like I felt bad because I felt like I was just useless. Like I couldn't really do anything. Like I was kind of like I wasn't really like listening to myself. I was kind of like letting everyone else get to me, and like following everyone else's like orders and such. And then when I played through Persona 5, like I listened to Makoto's story, and like how we saw her like take these orders from Principal Kobayakawa. We saw her like spending time with her sis, and you could see that like she, like, although she loves her sis dearly, like you can tell that her sis like just looks down upon Makoto in some ways because of like her own stress and like because of what she's dealing with, and like Makoto just kind of has to take it all, and she feels powerless to stop it. In those cases, I feel like I related very much. Like there were times where you would feel like there are times where you sometimes just feel powerless to stop something, and like you like a lot of times it can be very difficult to do anything about it yourself. So to see Makoto like step up when we went to Kanashiro's bank, it felt very like inspirational to me. Like it was like one of those few instances where fiction like kind of affected me in a very strong way. And like just seeing Makoto stand up to Shadow Kanashiro and unleash her persona and like say like her own speech, like it hit hard. And like especially like when I was going through her confidant, like I learned so much about her, and like she has aspirations. She's beginning to kind of like fend for herself and do everything on her own and like listen to herself.
Joe, I have a question for you. When playing the game and when playing through specific confidants, did you feel that you learned a lot about yourself? Because you mentioned Makoto learning a lot about herself, but do you kind of reflect on that? I know it's a personal question, but I'll also answer it as well. But do you feel that you kind of learn a lot about yourself while playing the game? Because I certainly feel that I do. Like, there's certain points when I look at certain confidants and I kind of relate to that. And
Well,
I'm like,
to be honest, I think that's like mostly true for like everyone who plays that game, because the game is like
Right, but like of course it'll affect somebody somehow, but the game can like change people in different ways because of just how many themes it introduces.
if you like think away the dungeons and everything, like it's pretty much real life, as at least in Japan. You know, there's like a few different things about the West and the Japanese culture, but those people still have the same issues as us. They have still have depression and like minority complexes and whatever. Like if you play those, if you talk to those confidants and spend time with them and you learn so much about them, it's like, I know what this person or what this character is going through, and I'm like, I'm not the only one in the world who has that. And it makes you like think about like other people have that too, and maybe we could like talk more to each other, and like it makes you want to actually talk about or talk to other people. I think at least in my opinion it did. It feels weird to say it, but it's true, because like it hits home, you know.
Yeah, well, I agree with you in a lot of ways. Like that's I feel is a very like what the selling points of Persona 5 is just how relatable it can be from beginning to end. Like it tackles like various issues that a lot of people deal with, and I think like just seeing the Phantom Thieves, like even though it's like totally fiction, like it's very like inspiring in one way or another, because like you're seeing these people going against the hardships of the world, and like people who are basically trying to like take over in like one way or another. And like it's like it makes you feel like, oh, like I wish I could be like the Phantom Thieves, where like I could like go against like everyone trying to put me down, and like just like go out there and do something, make some sort of change. Like that's why like I can relate to a lot of the characters, but with Makoto specifically, like it hit the hardest because it affected me directly, affected my own life directly, and like myself. And I feel like overall I learned a lot.
Is Makoto also your favorite confidant?
As far as like important life lessons are concerned, yes. I would say something similar to that. Like I would say like yes, like Makoto has definitely had a strong impact on me, but I think my favorite one, it's more of like just the game itself. It's not like important lessons aside, important themes aside. Like I think my favorite one has to be Iwai's confidant.
Mm-hmm.
Well, basically because he was involved in the Yakuza.
Yeah.
Like he had past history in the Yakuza, and throughout the confidant, you're spending time with his son and basically trying to while helping out with his business, you're hiding the fact that Iwai like is not his like it's not his real father, and that he was part of the Yakuza from his son.
Thinking about it now, he's actually a lot of like Kiryu from Yakuza.
Yeah.
A lot.
He is a lot like Kiryu, isn't he? Like it's just really sweet. It was very sweet, like the relationship between him and his son Karu, and like just seeing like all the like the backside like Yakuza business going on, and like seeing it all unwind just it was very exciting and very emotional, which is why I think that's my favorite. But I feel like I've kind of dragged on enough. What about you, Jacob? Like, well, like I want to hear like what you thought about like confidants and maybe your main character.
Well, my favorite character, like from the playable characters, is definitely Ryuji. I tend to like the sidekicks a lot. Most of the time, the protagonist is like, you know, like serious and everything, and the sidekick's like the comedic guy or girl. And Ryuji's kind of like, if I would compare him to Yosuke from Persona 4, I would like actually do him wrong, because I think that Ryuji has a lot more quality, speaking for him, because like in Persona 4, Yosuke was almost always talking about girls, and Ryuji's like the only 2 points I can think of where he actually talked about wanting to like have a girlfriend or find someone to hook up with was at one point where he was like carried away by 2, I think it was like feminine guys or like something.
Oh yeah,
like
it was
that.
when they were going to Shinjuku.
Yeah, exactly. Like when you get to speak to that photographer, a woman.
All that aside, because you mentioned like you're a big fan of Ryuji as a main character, but also like confidants. Like which ones were your favorites? Which ones stood out to you and things like that? Because that's something we're very.
See, my favorite confidant was actually Hifumi Togo, because I can relate to her a lot. She's like, she has to do something because her parents want her to do it, or her mom wants her to do it. I think she's gorgeous. She's absolutely stunning, I think.
It's a shame that we didn't get her as a party member.
Apparently, I was speaking to Javi about this, or I don't know how he pronounces his name, but you know who he is. And he was like, "Well, there's already a character like that in the party, but I don't know who he's referencing." To me, I don't know why they couldn't add Hifumi as a party member.
Well, I mean, I feel like there are a number of reasons for it. One, that it means they would end up dragging the game on for too long, and two, it would make a couple of themes obsolete. For example, like if you look at each palace, it's based off of the 7 deadly sins.
Yeah.
And it's like because you can't have 8. Like you can't work with 8 and then go to Memento's depths.
Well, either way, Hifumi's like
She's very elegant.
She is, and despite being like elegant, she can also be like really like derpy and everything. And she's like, it's like the same as always. Like people look at her.
I love it when she plays shogi. She gets really serious,
and she wins, and she like turns into this whole other character, and it's like, who are you? And that was like one of the best parts of the confidence events for me, because she was always like, when she played shogi, she played with a passion. She always had like this image of herself being like this super warlord and everything, and that really appealed to me, because that showed me that there's still people who actually like have a fantasy inside their head.
Like it's a Chunibyo's like syndrome, right?
Yeah, it's very Chunibyo like, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's almost innocent if you think about it. It's like, as I mentioned before, she's really beautiful, and I can just relate to her being like,
she kind of reminds me of Zenji from Dynasty Warriors.
She does, yeah.
It's, not just because of the little like beauty spot on her face or anything. It's just the characters really do align there.
Hifumi's like not nearly as bitchy as Senji.
Well, that's true. Yeah, you can't compare on the bitchy scale.
Anyways, let's talk about how the game, like how it has changed in terms of gameplay and graphics and the setting. We already mentioned it's set in Shibuya. It's set in like a huge city.
It's very interesting the fact that this game, I'm not sure about the previous Persona games, but this is actually set in real life, and all of the places you can go to, you can actually go to in real life. It's not like Inaba in Persona 4, which isn't a real place. It's only based.
It is a real place.
No, it's not.
It was based. Well, I mean, it's the same for Shibuya. Like, it isn't like totally accurate.
No, it's not. It's not like on the levels of Akiba Strip, but like the game Akiba Strip, where it's really accurate. It's not really accurate, but I mean, Inaba is not a real place. Like, it's based on a real place. It's not a real. Same with Tatsumi Island?
Tatsumi Port Island. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a real place either. So it's like it's very interesting that they wanted to go with this is real. Like, this place is real, and you can go and visit the Sky Tree, or you can go and visit Roppongi Hills. Like, it's very, very interesting. Because it's set in modern day, so they have to kind of represent.
And it also changed a lot in terms of like graphics, because like in the Persona 3 and 4, you were also always like playing with these chibi figurine characters, while in Persona 5 you actually like play with life-size, I'm gonna call it life-size characters with accurate height, even like.
But I would say that's due to the engines, right? Because the previous Persona games are on PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2. We're not going to count the Vita on this one, but it's a big jump.
But Persona 3 and Persona 4, because Persona 1 and 2 are different too.
No, I know, but I mean, like, there's a limitation from the PlayStation 2 that you really can't get. You see what I mean? It's not as powerful as PS4, right? So that's why they've implemented that thing. That's why they've used the Catherine engine for the face. And, even, like, the whole puzzles and shit.
I think they wanted to go with the Catherine engine, too, as a design choice, because the Catherine engine can make games look amazing. Like, if you look at Catherine, like, if you play through it, like, the visuals, like, the style, like, it's so good.
Yeah, I do think it came with Catherine, and then it came with Persona 4 Dancing All Night, because that's when they like first introduced those big models instead of like the little ones. And it also shows like a lot in Persona 5, because it's really close to, well, it's really detailed, and because you always see people running around, they're not really unique in their own way, but they're like shadows, and it's like, it's really close to life, to me at least.
Not just that, I think the whole shadow shadows thing is, when you're walking past people, they kind of fade in and out, and it's kind of something that kind of relates to real life in a way. You see so many people, you're not going to remember their faces.
Just shadows,
Yeah, everyone blends in the end, and I think that in itself, is a great design choice. It's subliminal, but it makes you think. Wow, like I don't really need to care about these NPCs. Do you see what I mean? They're irrelevant.
Yeah, but it's like it still gives off this like really real vibe to me.
Yeah,
and
of
it's
course.
like super, especially because it's like such a huge city, and it's like just really realistic. Because in other games like Persona 3, there were like 3 or 4 NPCs on like one map or anything, and there's like in Polonia Mall, for instance.
Yeah.
Like there's way more people in real life.
The main thing that kind of struck out for me in terms of this new gameplay engine and the whole graphics and such was the first time you went to school by train. The fact that you walked to the train station, you got on the train, and you can actually miss the train and another one will come. That blew my mind. I was like, whoa, you can ride the train. Like, this is some next level stuff.
Until they finally introduced fast travel.
Well, they did introduce but you could still do it. You don't need to necessarily go through the fast travel system. You can actually go on the train, and the fact that the game limits you in such a way, it's like, you know what, you have to pay this much on your ticket. It's not free travel. Like, it's sick. It's amazing. It's like, that's how it is in London. There's the zone system, and it's pretty cool. Like, I've never seen a game pay that much attention to detail.
Am I the only one who got like super confused going through the train lines initially, like without fast travel?
True, but I think it's made to do that.
I just wanted to point that out because it was just really funny to me.
The Japanese audience, especially the ones living in Shibuya or in Tokyo in general, will know. They'll think, okay, you need to go to this line, and you're like, yeah, I know where to go. I've been here before in real life. But then I've seen a lot of people, the Western audience, they're not gonna know. And the funny thing is that train station is designed in such a way where there are markings on the floor, and it's in the game as well. There's like paint markings on the floor to indicate which line to go to.
And I have to say, when I went to Japan for the first time, that was the same thing.
Well, because it's based on that.
When I went there, I was like, what am I supposed to do here? Like, where do I go? And it was really confusing. It was like a labyrinth, really. And then suddenly there were like so many lines and everything.
And it's interesting because it makes you take the time, because you're not going to do it first try. I don't think many Westerners are going to do it first try in the game. It makes you see what you can do in the game. Like, when I done it the first time, I saw the stand where you can apply for jobs, and it tells you don't do this now. Like, do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
By doing those mistakes, you get to see what the game has to offer and little hints. Like, ooh, I can go get a part-time job. That's interesting. Or look, I can go to a different place, but I can't get access to that now.
It's actually nice that you mentioned that, because there were a lot of features that I just didn't know about going after my first playthrough. It's like I didn't really notice those features until like I saw somebody else playing the game. It's like, for example, like I didn't know about like fishing and stuff until I actually like saw someone like go to the area and like do fishing.
That's the same with me. Like, I didn't realize that was even a thing, or or even the locations. I don't think I've unlocked every location that you can possibly go to.
I was able to unlock every hotspot, if I remember correctly. Like, yeah, I still didn't know about the fishing area, which was surprising to me.
And even the little things like going to the baseball cages, like the batting cages, I didn't even know that was a thing. Or things like that. It's just even those little like mini games, or playing in the arcade, or doing the challenges. And that's what I like about the game. Every time you play it, there's always something new that you wouldn't have thought, and it just blows your mind. It's like, wow.
I mean, as far as things to do, like, it's the game's as far as like things to do is concerned, Persona 5 excels in that compared to a lot of the other Persona games in the past. Like, there's just so much you can do on your spare time, like more than ever. Some may be like a little more significant than others, but you still get benefits from each of them, which is really nice. And like, especially, and then when you have confidants like Kawakami's or Chihaya's, you can save so much time and get more things done than ever.
I still think at the same time the game gives you too much time, at least for me.
Well, it's because they give you two of the most broken confidants in any Persona game.
Even without those confidants, like, I felt that there's certain things within the dungeons, at least. You know how they give you like a week or something, or a month? Mm-hmm. Within the later game, they give you more time to complete the dungeon. I go in 2 days max. I've completed the dungeon. And then you get that time where you have to wait for the killer to be found. Well, not the killer. You have to wait for the heart to be stolen and for them to make a confession. And then it's like, after that, it will reset. And then you have to go you still have more free time. And it's like, I don't want too much free time in the game. Like, for me, when I'm playing, maybe there's something wrong with how I play the game.
Well, to be fair, Morgana sent you to bed a lot in the game, so I guess that makes up like just a little bit for the free time.
Every time I would try to like go do certain things, and like Morgana would just tell me, he's like, let's not do that today. I'm like, come on, Morgana, like I'm in my room and I have nothing to do. I don't need to sleep.
You wanna get a glass of water? No, I don't think so. You're going to bed, bitch. You're gonna thirst this night, bitch. I don't think so.
That's what I don't like about Morgana, but I think it's annoying. It's like having an annoying pet. It's like, it's a pain in the ass. It's like
Having like a toddler that has like the mind of an adult.
Yeah, but with that said, I am glad that they give you like a lot more options. Like you could build one time you could build tools, another time you can make laundry, or you could play some games for a bit, read a book for a bit, or you can make some coffee, you can make some curry, you could go out to like buy some books, read a bit, or like fish a bit, or watch a movie for a bit with Morgana. Yeah, play games like
They brought back that mechanic from Persona 4 Golden where it's like you can see what other people online did, and it's like, should I do that too? Maybe I should.
because I didn't notice that.
You know where you like press like a button, I think
if you press the touchpad while you're like in the overworld,
it'll show you like what other people did that
Oh, wow.
who are like online, like
You know what's very interesting and kind of broken as well. If you're doing the questions at school and you press the touchpad, and
that was really, really funny.
that was
It's
funny
a-
to me.
it's a bit shitty. It just tells you the answers now because everyone's.
The great thing is that they didn't do that for the tests. Actually, they just did it for the school, like the questions themselves. But like if you're writing like an exam, you're not getting any answers from like online. That it's like cheating,
Yeah, I didn't know about that feature until after I beat the game. I was watching like somebody play through the game.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I used it like all the time. I used it for like everything because sometimes the game made me unsure about myself. So I was like, fuck. You know what? I'm just gonna use this, and then thank you. And then next thing you know, I'm like maxing every single stat.
Oh, you know what stat pissed me off to get? It was the courage stat, like the one where you have to eat the burgers. That annoyed me. Like
Easy though.
Yeah, it was.
it's a lot of money. It was like, fuck, man, I have to eat all these burgers.
Well, you have to eat them at the right time because you get a discount.
I know, but I don't want to spend all night eating burgers. I was like, oh man, I want to go to the.
No, guys, I think one of the funniest ways to boost your stats in the game was when it's like when you're in class, and I think if you're looking at your phone too long, like I don't remember how it worked, but sometimes like the teacher would like
Throw
what's his
something
name?
at you.
Yeah, like the big like guy with the glass.
That only happened to me like the very first time.
This is something that's really weird with the game. Like certain events only happen once.
They loved showing that in the trailers. In the early trailers, they always show that one teacher, that bigger teacher, noticing you, looking at your phone and throwing the chalk at you. That they loved putting that in because it was like that's actually gonna get to people's attention, and because it's like so out of place and it's so unnormal for like most games. It's like.
But it's another thing that I wanted to bring up. It's like there's certain features like that people will never see in their gameplays. And there's another feature that I want to bring up, and I'm not sure if you've seen it. It's the reverse hostage.
Yeah, I have never seen that.
I've seen that. It's happened once.
The reason was for me because I played like for my first playthrough. I just wanted to like see how the story went. I'm like, I guess you could say I'm a little spoiled because of that. But like I never got to see those hostage situations, and I never realized how hard the boss enemies are. So
To be honest, for me, I was playing on easy the first time, and I had it, and it was like they took on, and it was like, what the fuck? What is this? Like they took on, and they were like, if you don't pay the money, you have to. It's either you pay the money or you just continue to defeat the persona. If you don't do it in time, they'll kill off your teammate, and it's like fuck. Or there's an option if you're connected online to get one of the other people that are playing online to help you. And I didn't do that the first time. I then reloaded the game, and then I done it the second time, and it's pretty interesting. Since then, I've played like probably 300 hours of the game. I haven't seen that again. So it makes me think: is this like a one-time thing, or is it gonna happen multiple times?
It can happen multiple times in a playthrough. On my first time, I don't remember seeing it like at all. But then when I did my Merciless New Game Plus playthrough, like it was happening like a little more.
I guess sometimes you can just rely on luck.
I think it depends on like how your team takes damage. Like I think it's like if your teammate is in this scenario, like and they take this damage, or like the boss gets up close to them and does this damage, and they can be taken hostage.
The first time it happened to me was that you can try and do a hostage situation. Like if you do a take, what's it called? What was a hold up? Yeah, if you try and do a hold up, they can reverse that hold up on you, and it's like if you fuck up the negotiation, they can turn it around, and it's like that's the second time it happened to me. I was like, what?
Well, it happened to me that I failed the negotiation, and then the persona actually got the advantage and attacked me like 2 or 3 times in a row.
Oh yeah, you could fail it, but like it's not like an exact hold up though. It's more like they just attack because you screwed it up.
Yeah, but they can also reverse it. Like I said, they could just take a hostage. I was like, what? When it happened, it blew my mind because I was like, no way. Like, imagine playing this game on hard and that happening to you. That would piss you off. It would be such a challenge. I would love that.
Well, I mean, if you get like knocked down, and if you get like a crit, or if you get a weakness in Merciless early on, then you're just dead because the hit's that hard. You know what I want to talk about? I want to talk about just the battle system. If we can talk about that quickly, because I loved how like active the battle system was this time. It's like, in addition to like the normal stuff you're used to, like getting like melee weapons, like wearing costumes, and like just using usual Persona skills, you could use like guns. You could use different gun skills. You could do like these like team skills to like you could do like these. You could like pair up with another party member and like do these like style of skills. Like then you could hold them up. Then you could choose all out attack, or like go into negotiation or take.
There's
an
also an interesting thing that they've added as well. It's like a hint. It's not a hint button, but it chooses the best persona or the best gun move or whatever for that enemy if you've fought them before. And I think it's very useful if you want to go through like speed runs and stuff, or if you're a relatively new player to Persona. It is very useful. I just like those little things like that, and the fact that you can taunt them and just like treat the personas like shit during like negotiations and hold-ups and stuff.
I'll sorry to interrupt, but like I also really like the baton pass system. The one where you could give it to like Yusuke, for example. Then you could like power up one of his moves and he would just demolish everyone.
Have you ever got like a full baton pass, like passed it to everyone in the team?
Yes, I had to do that. I mean, you need to do that to get an achievement. Like you have to like pass like I think it was like 3 times in a turn, or 3 times in a fight. I can't remember.
So you can judge me for that, but I always like pick the right character so the battle is over quickly. I have to say that even if you play on like easy mode, it can get really hard. Even with like a normal persona fighting you, because
it depends. Because when you first find out the personas, like you don't know anything.
It was like a wild encounter, and it used this like, you know how there's like dark and light skills, and they basically
I think they call it bless and like curse in.
Yeah, exactly. And they like one of the personas like used one on my entire team, and I think out of like 4 or 5 people in the team, I forgot. Yeah, 4. And I think 2 or 3 were like, no, 2 were killed, and the other 2 were heavily injured by other personas. I was like, oh my god, I'm out of like items to resurrect them. I'm like fucked. Even it was like easiest difficulty, so they really amped up the difficulty itself.
That's why it's really good to level up your confidence, because you get a lot of useful skills in battle. Like Ifumi skills, Futaba skills are some of the best skills in the game.
The fact that you can switch players out mid-battle and things.
And then you also have Shinya's skills, which allow you to do different moves with your guns. Like you can go into battle, like just like do like a gun barrage on everyone.
I do have to say I really enjoy the thought of them putting in guns as a weapon, because I always thought like you're fighting shadows. Why aren't you just using guns? And then it was like, oh, you know what? They just did it because Phantom Thieves are like seen as the villains, and villains don't really have like guns, especially if they hold people hostages.
Well, no, like I think the reason for that was because like if they look at the gun, and like in a world of cognition, if they look at the gun, they're gonna if they think it's real, then it will be real. I think that was like the plot reason for it.
I also love how they actually made the gun attacks like an actual element of damage. Like it was like
guns were broken in Persona 5. Like they were insane.
What was the persona called? I think Huapo, like the fire persona that like with the blonde hair and like the fairy dress and everything. And that persona's weak spot is, I think it's ice and the gunshots. It was like, what? This person's like weak to gunshots. Like,
it was really funny because you're fighting a whole bunch of shadows that are weak to the gunshots, and you could just put your gun up.
I know, you can just shoot everyone
and kill them. It's so funny, like you die and then you die.
One thing that I also want to mention within that is is the fact that there is certain gameplay changes from Persona 4 to Persona 5. One main thing is that you're not fighting shadows anymore. You're fighting personas, which is very interesting. It kind of brings us back to Persona 1 and 2, you know, the whole negotiations and trying to bring them on your side.
Well, it's just that, like, I feel like with Personas, it felt like it was an interesting change, but at the same time, it felt very logical, didn't it? Because it's like when you're fighting, like you're fighting people, like you're fighting these people who are assuming like discern form. They're hiding behind a mask, and then when you pull off those masks, then they turn into like the quote unquote corrupted personas that you see in the field. Like for example, in Kamoshida's palace, you see those knights.
And also a lot of people were really happy about that and the negotiations themselves, because they went back to their persona roots. They were like Persona 3, like I think Persona 3 and 4 was like you're fighting random monsters, and then like in 5 you can fight personas again. You can recruit them and you can like tell them to give you money or whatever, or items.
That's what I love. It's just you treat them like such shit. Like it's like you bully them.
You're the Phantom Thieves. You can't do that. You have like guns. You have everything a criminal should have. Like, and it's just really great to me that they really went back to saying
it wasn't just that. It was just the whole story behind it. I'm a huge fan of lore. Like I love just reading up on like the lore that the game presents. Like how like when you rip off, like as I was saying before with the night with like the Knights of Kamoshida's palace, you can just rip off like their mask, and then like it's basically the mask that's hiding like their true selves.
Yeah.
And then like the reveal is like these personas who can't really remember their true selves, and then through those negotiations you kind of help them like jog their memory, and then they join you.
Because we're talking about personas, I really want to talk about the Velvet Room, because it's very interesting. Like originally the Velvet Room was an elevator because of Tartarus was a tower, and then the Persona 4 Velvet Room was a limousine.
And then in Persona 5 they just treated you like shit by throwing you into jail,
which I love.
Yeah, I love that, but it's a lot more interesting because there was a lot more plot involved in the Velvet Room.
I know, and I love that because it's like,
because it wasn't initially supposed to be you being locked up. It was like that's because Yaldabaoth, who I like to call Tablecloth, ended up like imprisoning you and splitting Lavenza into Caroline and Justine, and it made it for like a very interesting plot. It's like because because it's very interesting when you're doing things in the Velvet Room, like when you're doing like doing all the fuses and everything. Igor doesn't do it. The twins do it themselves.
Yeah, I saw like they really put effort into like the whole criminal thing by saying like we're gonna execute this persona.
That was really cool, actually. I like the fact that they were themed.
They put the blankets over the personas and then cut their heads off.
Or electrocute them. It depends. It's like there's electrocutions, there's guillotines, and it's such a lovely system. And I think even the way that fusions are a lot easier in this game, from what I can see. It's so easy to fuse.
Because a lot of the quality of life changes, like they made like navigating through menus and like just accessing personas and doing these different things a lot easier compared to past games.
Completely agree with that. And even there's that, it kind of also reminds me of Pokemon in a way, like, because let's be real, the system is pretty similar to Pokemon. The battle system is like this rock paper scissors battle system. Even the fact that you can do like fusions with random people online, like you give in a persona and then they give in a persona random, and you get a random fusion out of it, which is kind of like the Pokemon Wonder Trades and stuff. Like it's pretty similar to that. I'm not comparing Pokemon to Persona, but there's a pretty similar theme going on in terms of that. Like,
well, I mean, it's also very addicting to try to collect every single persona.
Oh yeah.
This is coming from somebody who like 100%ed the compendium and got all of the demon treasures.
We get it, Joe.
Yes, I know. I need to toot my own horn at every possible moment because getting that platinum trophy was the most painful thing I did in a while.
Do you have the DLC personas?
I don't because I'm not scum.
You know what? Fuck you. I have all the DLC. I have every
I know
single
you do,
piece of
Jacob,
DLC.
and every day I will constantly remind you about how horrible of a choice you made.
You know, I felt bad for getting the game for free because it's such a good game. And then I was like, you know, I'm just going to buy all the DLC. I want Atlas to get my money. So I did that. But the DLC ruined the game. Like, depending on which one
it spoils you a lot because it's like
it
makes the game so easy for you.
Well, because you can get Persona with certain weaknesses, and then you can teach it moves that eliminate those weaknesses, and so they'd be.
That's another thing. You can refuse them to forget the fact that they're you make them immune to darkness or things, especially the Picaro personas. Like, they tend to be just godly. Like, I bought the Messiah DLC, and the fact that you can end because you get the ability to get the persona straight away because you paid real life money for it. So you go to the compendium and then it's free for the first time of summon. And it's like, really, I can go in Kamoshida's palace with Messiah and just wreck shit.
It really does break the game.
It does. But I think the way for them to do that is that they should be like, okay, you need in-game money to get the persona like you would any other persona. They did implement that after like after you buy it the first time, like for free, then you get an opportunity to do it. But even then, the fact that you can do fusions that aren't listed in like the fusion guide.
Yeah.
And it's so easy to do, and it's like, come on, man. There's certain personas that are just too godly. You don't even want to use for example, I don't want to use Saturnine. Like, he's a cool persona and everything, but I just use Messiah. Just Messiah Picaro, and it's because Messiah Picaro I don't think has any weaknesses because he's like effectively God. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, if I actually like use, I kind of feel bad for using the DLC personas, especially because I think like they're just DLC, and I'm actually missing out on personas that are in the game that I could be summoning and fusing right now, which could probably make the game also a lot more fun for me. But I'm like,
but it's also a nostalgia factor, right? Because you're like
that too. But I'm just like one of the few people who like want to rush through fighting to like actually just enjoy the plot, even though I probably shouldn't because like the gameplay is one of the greatest points in the game. But I just love rushing through fights to really enjoy the story itself. So it's kind of like
I mean, I can't speak for myself because I didn't buy any DLC. Like I didn't really see much interest in it. But I did appreciate the fact that they put so much work into just remaking the models for every single persona. So like it was amazing. Like, just seeing all these personas that are originally just 2D sprites being brought into a 3D environment, like seeing Izanagi, seeing like Messiah, seeing like the new personas like Arsene, and like just seeing them in this like 3D environment with all these special effects. It shows a lot that like it says a lot about how much quality they put into it.
Yeah, of course, and the fact that the game has been delayed all this time, you can see where it's gone.
I don't even want to imagine what it was like beforehand, so I'm glad they took a lot of time to...
There's one point that actually puts me off a little bit with the DLC. The fact that they delayed the game for like such a long time, and then they still decided, let's put DLC that's not free actually up for sale, and then that didn't really irk me as much as the DLC that you have to pay for, which was original costumes for the characters. But it did make me think, if I know it's free, but why didn't you just put it in a game like when it came out? Like,
well, I mean, with the costumes, I agree, but with the personas...
Yeah, with the personas, that's a whole different thing.
Yeah, it makes
course.
sense because canonically, like, Izanagi can't really exist as a feasible persona.
I know, but still, like, with the DLC costumes, I get it, like, with the whole, like, Persona 3, school outfit.
You know what I didn't like about that DLC is the fact that you can have all of them. Like, you can get, for example, Ann wearing the Persona 4 costume, and then Makoto wearing the P3 costume, but it all depends on what your main character is wearing, what music you're going to get. I don't like the fact that the music is linked in with the costume. Like I want to choose the track.
It would have been nice if you own the costume, you could like have an option in the menu to choose what kind of music you'd want to play.
Exactly. I think that would have been greater because sometimes I want to be wearing the Persona 3 costumes, but I don't want to listen to the Persona 3 music because I really don't like it.
I'm also like, you made costumes as DLC, but why didn't you actually make costumes that you don't have to buy as DLC for the game, like in the game itself?
Like Persona 4 had.
Yeah, like Persona 4, like I get it, like it's cosmetics. Who doesn't love
But
that?
you could do that, right? There's the swimsuit costumes, there's the school uniforms.
I feel like in Persona 4's case, it's very different because in like Persona 5, you're dressed as the.
I know it was for PS2, but.
Well,
but
no,
like,
it's not. I'm not talking about I'm not talking about PS2. I'm not talking about like stuff like that. I'm talking about the fact that because the Phantom Thieves are like known for wearing these certain costumes, it's like you can't really like alternate between costumes as well you did in Persona 4 because your clothing didn't really matter. In Persona 5, it matters more than ever. Like with that said, like I do agree with a lot with what you guys are saying. Like these, like with how the costumes were handled, like it could have been handled better. In my opinion, same Personas I kind of understand, but costumes, it's like. There are ways to kind of make them a little better than like they did in like what they did now. What they did now is like it feels weird. Like in some areas I can kind of agree with it because like for example the butler maid outfit, the Christmas outfit, I love like DLC, like as DLC those were fine for me because like not only was it free, it also looked very nice. Like it was like something that was like nice quality. But then when you get to like the other costumes, like why would I want to pay for all these?
That's true, especially the P3 costumes. The only good costume in that, because they're all the same costume. It's not like each one is themed, except for I think it's only Morgana that gets the themed costumes, like I guess, or Teddy costume, etc. Like the rest is just the standard uniform.
Yeah, Morgana has the funnier costumes because
I think it's pretty cool. Like especially the ram from Catherine and stuff, the sheep.
And then if you put on the butler maid outfit, he doesn't wear he doesn't wear a butler outfit. He wears a maid outfit.
He wears the maid, and it's quite funny. It's charming. It makes me like Morgana a little bit more. Let's talk about spin-offs.
Yeah, like I mean, I really did like talking about like all this like extra content, but since we're talking about like extra content or like future content, it'd be nice to talk about the spin-offs and like what should we be expecting for the future. It's
already been announced that there's a Persona dancing game similar to Dancing All Night, and I'm not too happy about it.
I mean, they said it wouldn't interfere with the main story.
Yeah, no. See, the thing is, it doesn't even have a story mode. It doesn't. It's just. I think it has like a challenge mode instead of story mode. It's more like the Project Diva games now because it doesn't really like it doesn't have a story mode, of course, but it's also more. I think it's more. How can I say that? It's more focused on you just having fun instead of you like saying I want to play this because of the plot.
It makes me feel that they're just trying to milk this franchise. They've done it with P4, and it was just like, come on, man. I don't want. Well, I mean, my
personal philosophy is like if it doesn't like it doesn't affect the story in some way, and it's mainly focusing on fun, then like I can get behind it. It's like it's not really hurting anybody. It's like it's kind of like it's just there. It's like if you like it, then sure you could buy it, but like if not, it's not like it's important enough for you to have to buy it. Unlike with Persona 4 Dancing All Night, which had like a new story that was integral to like the main Persona 4 plot, and same for Arena. Like,
however, I do have to say that it was because they also announced like the Persona 3 game, like the Dancing Night game. I'm just gonna say real quickly that I actually was hoping for a new Persona 3 dancing game because I love the Persona 3, but that's another thing to talk about sometime later.
I was going back with the Persona 3. I was hoping that they were gonna be like, hey, we're gonna re-release Persona 3 using this Catherine engine. I thought that would have been cool, but that's not real. It's not real.
Well, who knows? Maybe the future brings something.
Speaking about other spin-offs, Q2.
Oh, the anime as well.
Persona Q2 was also announced. Like once again,
is it real? Because
from
Q2.
Okay,
it is. Q2 is 100% real.
Is it gonna have P5 characters?
Well, yeah, we don't know anything about it right now, other than it's a thing.
But it was confirmed that they were gonna put in Persona 5 characters.
So I mean, naturally, because
that one has been confirmed 100%.
Yeah, like we don't know anything about the game right now. We just know that it exists. It's gonna be like a Persona 5 spin-off with Persona 5 characters in it. We don't know how it's gonna be incorporated into the story. I assume it's gonna be
which
canon,
consoles
though.
it's gonna be on though?
3DS.
Yeah,
3DS. But
3DS.
do we think there'll be a Switch?
I don't think so.
I can see that happening. I don't have my hopes up for
Don't
it.
think they will make it.
I don't have all my hopes up for it, but I can see it happening at some point. Like similar to how they went from Persona 3 to it was similar to how they went from PS3 to PS4 with Persona 5.
Anyways, there's also still the Persona 5 anime that's been announced. Not like the early anime that was like released for the actual game release.
I like the teaser anime that they did, that early OVA thing. But I don't know how I would enjoy a P5 anime, mainly because I've already played the game. I don't have a reason. And there's nothing additional going on.
See, the thing is, I don't know if I'm gonna watch it, but I also heard that they're making like an actual, but like they're making an actual like phone app just for the anime. I think it's just for the anime, but it could also be like for the entire series. But they're making that app actually. Like there's not too much info on that yet, but they showed it in a stream before, and I think it was also actually announced with the anime and Dancing Star Night. I think it was like all kind of mixed together in like one big announcement.
Yeah, I'm wondering how that would work though. Like, what would be the point of it?
I would presume it's like a social game, no?
No, I don't think it's a social game. It's like more of a companion app. Like, you know how GTA 5 has a companion app. There's a few games who have that.
I can see it being some sort of like augmented reality application.
Oh, maybe.
That could be, yeah.
Like, as in, like, you can go around the world and like do something similar to the metaverse. Well, like,
So, oh,
that would be cool.
Joe, that's sick. That's actually a really cool idea. Like the actual app on the phone, like in the game. Oh, Joe, man. You know, I hope Atlas steals your idea. I really do, because that's a really cool idea.
Knowing them, they'd probably think a step ahead. They'd probably be like,
true.
"Oh, you get to summon a persona in the game."
If not, Joe, you need to be in the credits of P5. if they take your idea, man, that's what I need to do.
So let's now, I think we should also like talk about like the stuff that hasn't been announced yet that could still happen. Like, for instance, Persona 5 Arena. I think everyone has that in their minds.
Yeah, if Arc System Works is behind it, I would be totally on that.
I'm open for it. I think it's gonna happen one day. Like,
I think potentially it will, because P4 Arena is still being played at Evo. Like, it's...
I mean, it's a very solid fighting game. Like, it has a very special mechanic.
they're putting Persona 4 Arena characters into the Blaze Blue crossover game.
Exactly, so it means like that those characters are popular enough to be in Blaze Blue. Like,
And who knows, maybe they're actually putting Persona 5 characters as DLC into that game.
We never know, because that game hasn't come out yet. So I think if they're gonna do that, that'll be very interesting for us to see what a P5 Arena would be. It's kind of like, you know, in Dynasty, you know, in Warriors Orochi, not Warriors Orochi, in All Stars, in Musou All Stars, where they had Zhou Kang as a playable character to kind of tease for Dynasty Warriors 9.
Yeah, because he was a whole new character.
Yeah, so I think that would be interesting if they did that kind of thing there. But yeah, I think, we kind of already talked about the Persona Remastered collection. I think that would also be a very interesting thing, but I doubt at this point, unless they do like a release on PC.
I don't see him doing like Yakuza Kiwami levels of like remakes.
I cannot really see like a remastered collection, as in like a remake of 1 to 4.
If anything, I could see like an upscaled bundle of like some Persona games, but that's about it.
No, see, but I can actually see, like, I could potentially see a Persona 3 remake with the Persona 5 models, because now they have the Persona 3 dancing models.
Which
now
they can reuse.
Exactly, and I'm not too sure if they would just like make those models just for one game. I mean, I guess for Persona 4 Dancing Online, it was like a whole different thing, because Persona 4 is pretty much old news, so to say now. But like Persona 3 is also like old news, but it's still kind of like...
The reason they wouldn't do that is because of licensing. It's just going to be a shit show. Because bear in mind, for Persona 3, this was before Atlus done their own publishing. So Koei has the rights to Persona 3. So it's like, if that ever happened, how would Atlas try and avoid it? Would they have to rename the game something else, or would they have to buy the rights from Koei?
I don't know, Persona 3, fuck if I know. They would probably come up with something like that, like Persona 3 Midnight or something like that.
Or no, but that's the thing, because if they put Persona 3 in the title, Koei has it. Like, it's
but
like
only
that.
in Europe.
In Europe, yeah.
Right, but that'd make a lot more complications later on.
Exactly, because they just cause a lot of complications with localization, etc. Unless they release it as like a separate, kind of like, with the there was a game that actually had to rename the game because of licensing issues when they had to republish. It was another Koei game. It was like one of those Rorona's Atelier game. You know the Atelier games?
Yeah.
When they re-released the Atelier games, they had to put like a HD after it or something to try and rename the game just so they can re-release it with a.
Are you talking about the
new...
Atelier series?
Yeah, because I think they got their remakes as well. So
I didn't know some names were changed though.
Oh, you mean the Atelier
Rorona Plus and stuff
thing.
like that? Yeah, they had because it was never Koei to begin with. It was like NIS America and stuff that were publishing it, and there was like those kind of complications. So if they were ever to do a Persona remastered, they would probably have to change the names, and I doubt Atlas would do that. It's just a lot of work, a lot of money to invest in, unless they come up with like an agreement, or unless Koei is willing to renew the license, which they're not. No offense, Koei. You don't own the license for Dynasty Warriors 2, and I'm really upset about that.
Let's not talk about that.
I'm just saying, who owns the license for that game? And if someone owns it, I want to buy it. Because I don't think it's going to be worth a lot. So. And
then we also got the Persona social game, which I am not too sure about if they're going to make that, because there's also been there's been Persona 3 social, Persona 4. Like, I think there was like this card game thing for mobile.
The ones where you open those card packs and it's like, oh yeah man, I got a rare Nico.
No, it was like actually like a gacha game, but with cards instead of like
You mean like those games where you open those packs, like those Senran Kagura one?
No, I mean like games where basically like idle games like Love Live or something like that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Where you open those packs and he's like, oh man, yeah, I got a new Nico, yeah, super rare. Ultra rare.
Oh my god.
Ultra rare Nico's.
Is that how all Love Live fans
that was
sound
me.
like?
That's how all Nico fans sound like. Hey, Nico, yeah, Nico ni.
No, Bish, that was exactly how I sounded when I was trying to roll for the illustrated Kairi EX medal from Kingdom Hearts Union Cross.
God, don't even remind me of
like
that
I
game.
like rolling. I only paid for one weekly Jewels extravaganza, and I was able to get 2 of them.
I guess we kind of went off topic now.
I mean, I love when we talk about this kind of stuff. It connects.
We've already spoken about our gripes and grumbles with the game. There's not many of it, and we kind of done that as we went along. But I want to know, is it your favorite Persona game?
It isn't. Persona 3 will always probably be my favorite Persona game. I just can't change that. 3? However, I do think Persona 5 is like a major improvement overall. Like it makes so many elements together of like both first 2 Persona games and then 3 and 4, and it all went so well together. So I would definitely like recommend that game, especially because you can still like start you can get into the series by playing Persona 5, because it doesn't really have anything to do with the other Persona games. Like it has like, subtle, like for instance, if you play like the crane game in Akiba, it has the Junes theme playing.
Oh right,
but, like,
you can get a bunch of toys. I forgot about that.
Yeah, the best thing about playing a game is playing a game inside the game.
You also get one of the sheep from Catherine.
So it's like you can always just jump right into it. And however, the thing is, if you play Persona 5 first, you'll probably be kind of disappointed with the other with the first 4 games.
I think it's because the way Persona 5 looks, and it's more of a hassle to play 3 and 4, because you have to go and either get a PS2 or buy a Vita. It's just a pain in the ass, I think.
Each game kind of has its own charm. Like even if the older games have aged considerably, there's still like something to be loved about them, in my opinion. That said, like I haven't had much experience with the Persona series. the most of my experience is basically Persona 4, like its spin-offs, a bit of Persona 3, and like all of, like Persona 5. But so I don't really think I have the right to say what my favorite is, but I will say that Persona 5 definitely like I loved it a lot more than Persona 4, definitely. I loved how serious it was. Like it had its moments, but also had like it was also very mature from beginning to end. Like it wasn't like making fun of itself. It was like taking these themes to heart and incorporating it into the story in a way that that made me feel like all these different kinds of emotions. Like when like especially when it got to more serious topics like PTSD or like suicide, like with the beginning with Shiho.
I think it's also very interesting because P3 had those issues, and I think if I was to compare P3 to P5, it's very like P3 is a lot darker.
I mean, it's definitely a lot darker, but like it's like with Persona 5, it was more like it was incorporating because it was like the whole theme of it. Well, with Persona 5, like
I just think Persona 5 was like
3,
more relatable. It just was because
Persona 5 was the most relatable, definitely.
Yeah.
Like Persona 3 definitely has like its dark moments from what I've like heard from you guys and from like from the little bit I've seen, but Persona 5 like incorporates into its themes so well, and like you can't help but like feel like these different emotions towards characters you love or hate,
especially with that soundtrack.
Right, the soundtrack too. Like it set the tone so well.
It fits really perfectly.
I just want to remind you guys, big thank you to our sponsors Crunchyroll and Loot Crate for being awesome. Big thanks to Atlas and Deep Silver for giving me a copy of the game pre-release. I really did enjoy it. Thank you very much, and apologies for the late episode. Yeah, so you can always check us out on our Twitter pages. Mine is at Get a Life Podcast.
Mine is at KiboGamer, spelled KIBOUGAMER. And if you're curious about what I'm up to, it's basically a lot of college stuff going on and me just gushing over Yakuza because I'm getting into it for the first time.
My Twitter is at MonoDaddy. If you wonder how it's spelled, it's MonoDaddy.
Hope you guys have enjoyed this episode. See you later, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Alright. Hey, bitches. No, just kidding. Anyways.
I'm sick, Joe. I'm sick. Alright? I'm recording this and I'm sick. Alright? Don't make fun of me. Alright? You hurt my feelings.
So
you guys, I'm not redoing that. Just edit it.
No, it's going in there, man.
No, it's going in there. You better live with it.
Anyways. Bitch, I swear to God.
Sorry.
And so it begins.
Don't fuck it up for me. And today we're talking about Persona 5, a game that's near and dear to my heart. Sorry, I need to laugh.
At this second, you're gonna be showing extreme happiness, and then like a few seconds later, now you gotta say this and that. Like, should I write out the rest of the script for you?
It sounds like a shitty commercial.
Okay, you know what? I'm gonna redo it, and this time.
No, we don't have to redo it, dude.
Well, okay, bitch, what's your problem?